can the ethical become a temptation? When universal reason suppresses the individual's leap of faith.
Welcome to 1337, the future of podcasts of books. I'm Max, your host, diving into epic tales and hidden gems.
And I'm Sophia, here to unpack the art of storytelling and the pages that move us. We're exploring novels, classics, and the craft behind the words,
Where we plunge into a carefully curated stack of information and extract the most important insights, giving you a powerful shortcut to being truly well-informed. Today, we're not just exploring ideas, we're wrestling with a question as old as conscious thought itself. How do we seek truth?
Right. Is it something we discover quietly within ourselves, maybe?
Yeah.
A forgotten memory waiting to be recollected?
Or does it arrive from an external, even surprising source, demanding a response? Is truth purely a cold, hard concept, something you just logically deduce?
Or is it something far more dynamic, personal and transformative?
Indeed. And our deep dive today is designed specifically to provoke your thinking, maybe to stir those deeper waters within you.
It might even, as Socrates himself famously said, make your spirit tremble. We are centering our entire discussion on Peter Kreeft's truly fascinating and, I think, profoundly influential book, Socrates Meets Kierkegaard.
That's right. It's an imagined conversation, such a brilliant literary and philosophical device, really, between two absolute giants of Western thought.
You've got Socrates, often revered as the father of philosophy, the archetypal seeker of reason.
And then Søren Kierkegaard, known as the father of Christian existentialism, who championed faith and, well, that radical individual choice.
And we're not simply summarizing their individual philosophies here. Our mission today is to analyze the core arguments Kreeft masterfully presents.
Yeah, and also explore the profound literary themes woven throughout the book and maybe dissect some of the surprising storytelling techniques Kreeft uses.
Exactly. He stages this truly radical debate about life's most fundamental choices that I think resonate directly with your own search for meaning.
Absolutely. And our source material for this deep dive, just so everyone knows, consists of carefully selected excerpts from the book itself.
Right. These passages detail the characters, their core messages, the intricate communication strategies going on.
And the rich, often quite tension-filled philosophical dialogue that unfolds between Socrates and Kierkegaard.
And we are committed to sticking strictly to the content provided in these sources to guide every aspect of our discussion.
Think of it as an intellectual feast, prepared just for you, designed to engage both your head and maybe your heart too.
Okay, let's unpack this truly extraordinary setup. Imagine, if you will, the ultimate questioner, Socrates.
The gadfly of Athens, right?
Yeah.
Forever probing, forever seeking.
Finally meeting Søren Kierkegaard, the intensely introspective and often described melancholy Dane.
And this isn't just some casual chat over a cup of hemlock in an afterlife cafe.
No, not at all. Kreeft sets the stage for a profound post-mortem dialogue, meaning it takes place after their earthly lives.
Kind of in a spiritual holding pattern, maybe?
Something like that. And here, Socrates, in his quintessential cross-examining form, delves deep into Kierkegaard's foundational work, Philosophical Fragments.
What's truly remarkable, what makes this book so compelling, is how Peter Kreeft, as the human author, so meticulously orchestrates this entire encounter.
Yeah, he's not just reporting a conversation. He's pulling us, the readers and listeners, directly into a rigorous intellectual process.
It feels incredibly alive, doesn't it? Like we're eavesdropping on a conversation with, well, eternal stakes.
What's truly striking here, I think, is that Socrates himself frames this intense cross-examination, this relentless probing, as serving a higher, almost divine purpose.
Really? How so?
He suggests it's good purgatory and a preparation for heaven for both of them.
Wow. That single statement immediately elevates the entire premise, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It transforms the book from just a philosophical debate into a profound journey of self-discovery, spiritual refining, and personal transformation.
It tells you, the listener, right from the start, that this isn't passive learning.
No, it's an active and potentially uncomfortable engagement with ideas that cut right to the core of existence.
It echoes Socrates' original dialogues with his students on Earth, which were never just about getting answers, were they?
Exactly. They were about sharpening the soul, bringing hidden truths to light. And this idea of purgatory suggests a crucible, a sort of refining fire for their very understanding of truth, preparing them for some ultimate reality.
Now, let's properly introduce our main players, the intellectual heavyweights in this arena.
Okay.
On one side, we have Socrates, famously known as the father of philosophy.
Right. He fundamentally represents the unwavering power of reason, the bedrock of ethics.
And that relentless, lifelong search for eternal truth that he firmly believed was found within oneself. That powerful, almost mystical idea of recollection.
He saw himself as the intellectual midwife, didn't he? Not imposing truth from outside.
No, but helping individuals bring forth the wisdom they already possessed.
Yeah.
Like an unconscious, innate knowledge that just needed to be brought to conscious awareness.
Okay. So given this foundational belief, what does it truly imply about his entire approach to truth and maybe our own ability to find it?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, Socrates' core belief is that truth isn't something new we acquire, like learning a fact from a book.
Right. Instead, it's something recollected. A timeless essence residing deep within each of us, part of the fabric of our eternal soul.
So his entire job then was to help bring this latent truth, this forgotten wisdom, to conscious awareness.
And his profound wisdom, famously, lay in acknowledging his own ignorance. That humility propelled his endless questioning.
His teaching method, the Socratic method, revolved around relentlessly questioning assumptions, didn't it? Rather than just providing definitive answers.
Exactly. So for Socrates, the teacher doesn't impart truth, but helps the student uncover it from within, which stands in stark contrast to his interlocutor. Kierkegaard, yeah. The father of Christian existentialism. He introduces a radical emphasis on faith, on the deeply personal nature of religion.
And on a notion of truth that originates from God and crucially enters into time.
Which is fundamentally different. This isn't an internal recollection, it's an external revelation.
And Kierkegaard explicitly states his own vocation as a kind of undercover missionary, right?
He does, with the mission to smuggle Christianity back into Christendom in disguise, which is quite a statement.
It immediately raises a crucial question for us, the listeners. How do these two fundamentally different approaches to truth, one internal and recollected, the other external and revealed?
One about a what's, and the other about a who. How do they even begin to meaningfully converse, let alone find common ground in this profound intellectual sparring match?
And what's fascinating is that Kreeft, the author, implicitly introduces a third character who seems to be orchestrating this whole philosophical drama.
Who's that?
The divine teacher, or ultimate author God.
Ah, okay.
The book itself in its dedication makes this really poignant statement. For Caleb Zimmerman, lover of Jesus and therefore of Kierkegaard and therefore for Socrates.
That dedication isn't just a personal touch, is it?
No, I think it suggests a very specific, carefully considered target audience for this unusual dialogue.
So not just for philosophy buffs or theologians.
Exactly. It's for anyone genuinely open to exploring the intricate interplay between belief and reason, between the classical pursuit of wisdom and the radical demands of faith.
And maybe even between the mind and the heart.
Yeah. It's for those who appreciate that truth can be approached from multiple, sometimes surprising, and even maybe contradictory angles.
Kierkegaard's explicit self-identification as an undercover missionary is absolutely crucial to understanding the book's very fabric, and Kreeft's masterful recreation of it.
How so?
He isn't merely presenting a set of abstract ideas for academic consideration, dispassionately laying out propositions.
Right.
No, he's employing what he terms a seductive logic, utilizing indirect communication, much like a brilliant novelist or a playwright.
Whose craft is to show rather than to tell.
Precisely. So he's not issuing decrees or delivering lectures. He's creating scenarios, personas, ironies that draw you in.
His ultimate aim, in his own words, is to inveigle disciples of Socrates into faith. That word inveigle is interesting.
It is. It suggests it's not a neutral, detached academic exercise for Kierkegaard. It is a deliberate, carefully crafted strategy.
Designed to lead philosophical readers who might otherwise be resistant to direct proclamation towards a deeper engagement with faith.
Right. And this strategic choice means that we, as listeners, are not just passive observers of this post-mortem dialogue.
We become, in a way, the one who is being asked the ultimate question of truth and faith.
We're pulled into the existential challenge ourselves, much like Socrates pulls his interlocutors into self-examination.
Here's where it gets really interesting, and I think it's the stroke of genius in Kreeft's approach.
Go on.
Peter Kreeft, as the human author of Socrates Meets Kierkegaard, brilliantly adopts Kierkegaard's very method of indirect communication.
So Kreeft is doing what Kierkegaard advocated.
Exactly. He presents Christianity not as a dogma to be swallowed whole, but as both a thought experiment, what he calls hypothesis B, framing it as a philosophy, and also as a fairy tale or a myth.
Wow, that seems bold. Isn't that diminishing Christianity?
Well, he argues it isn't done to diminish or trivialize it at all. On the contrary, it's a deliberate, almost playful, yet deeply serious strategy.
Putting on disguises as part of a larger missionary strategy.
Yeah, it's like a clever trick, really. Like dressing up Christianity in a philosopher's robe and then inviting us to see how badly it fits if it's reduced to mere human philosophy.
Ah, so by showing how it doesn't fit neatly into purely rational categories.
He indirectly teaches the true one, paradoxically highlighting its radical uniqueness and supernatural origin.
That is clever. It makes these incredibly complex and challenging ideas far more accessible and maybe deeply engaging.
It means the book isn't just about what Socrates and Kierkegaard say, but how they say it.
Right, imbued with the literary charm that radiates from Kreeft's writing, masterfully mirroring Kierkegaard's own prolific and varied output.
Exactly. Kreeft understands that sometimes the most profound truths can't be approached head-on with pure logic alone.
Especially if they, transcend logical categories.
So by using the thought experiment and fairy tale framing, he bypasses that initial intellectual resistance.
He invites us into a realm of imagination and hypothesis.
It's like a puzzle, isn't it? If you tell someone the answer directly, they might not really get it.
But if you present the pieces and guide them indirectly, letting them discover the solution,
it becomes their own. That's how Kreeft, through Kierkegaard's voice, attempts to inveigle that gentle coaxing, that almost irresistible allure.
Rather than merely persuade. He's acknowledging that our journey to truth often involves both the eyes of the head for logic
and the eyes of the heart for intuition, beauty, and that existential resonance.
The literary charm isn't just window dressing, it's a fundamental part of the argument itself.
Like beauty itself serving as a clue to its truth.
Exactly. It's about creating an experience that leads to an aha moment of recognition, not just a dry deduction.
At the very heart of Socrates Meets Kierkegaard lies its core message, a powerful assertion. Peter Kreeft aims to present Kierkegaard's Christian existentialism as a radical alternative to Socratic philosophy.
Right. It's an exploration not of minor differences, but of what the book calls an unbridgeable gap between them.
Arguing ultimately for the infinite existential priority of religion over philosophy.
This isn't subtle. We're talking about a chasm, a fundamental rupture in how we understand truth and our place in the universe.
So what then makes this gap so profoundly fundamental, so utterly unbridgeable in Kierkegaard's view? What is it about their core assumptions?
Well, this raises a truly important question for you, the listener. Can reason really bridge every conceptual gap?
Or are there domains where it just has to acknowledge its limits and yield to, a different mode of understanding, maybe even revelation?
Exactly. For Socrates, as we've discussed, truth is timeless, objective, recollected from within. It's what a universal concept.
But for Kierkegaard, truth is not an abstract idea or a what. It is a concrete person.
God himself who actively enters into time, into human history in the incarnation.
And this truth is intimately connected to subjectivity, to the essence of one's true self.
Which is achieved through a radical new birth, a transformative encounter.
This is precisely where the debate truly kicks off, isn't it? In their fundamental disagreement on the very definition and acquisition of truth.
Socrates represents truth as an abstract what to be remembered.
Kierkegaard presents it as a concrete who to be encountered and relationally embraced.
The gap isn't just intellectual, it's an existential divide concerning the very nature of human being and divine reality.
So if Socrates believes truth is already within us, like unconscious knowledge, and his role is as an intellectual midwife,
helping us organize what we've forgotten,
then his view of learning is almost like uncovering something already there.
Right. For him, the moment of learning, that aha moment, is inherently accidental and vanishing.
Why vanishing?
Because the truth itself is eternal and ever-present, merely becoming conscious for a fleeting moment.
And he famously said that no human being was ever truly an authority for another when it came to ultimate truth.
Implying that each individual must, at their core, discover it for themselves.
So what does this perspective imply about the individual's role, and where might it fall short for Kierkegaard?
Well, connecting this to the bigger picture, the Socratic method implies humanity is basically in a state of forgetfulness, not fundamental error or brokenness.
It's about remembering what's always been there. It's quite an optimistic view of human potential.
It is, but Kierkegaard radically disagrees with this premise. He posits that if humanity is in a state of genuine error, or, more profoundly, sin.
Which for him isn't just a moral failing, but an ontological state, a state of being.
Exactly. A state of being truly destitute of the truth. Then the teacher can't simply prompt recollection.
So the teacher needs to do more.
Much more. This teacher must not only bring the truth from outside, but also actively give the condition necessary for understanding it.
And this teacher, for Kierkegaard, has to be God.
Necessarily. God recreates the learner, functioning as a savior and redeemer.
This makes the moment of learning crucial.
Decisively significant.
Right.
Whether it's the historical incarnation of God in time or an individual's personal new birth, a spiritual awakening.
It's the point when the eternal, which hitherto did not exist, came into existence in this moment.
That's the idea. This challenges everything Socrates believed about how truth is acquired. It posits a new kind of truth that's both eternal and temporal.
Actively entering and transforming existence. It's not about remembering.
It's about being fundamentally remade.
And this new birth that Kierkegaard describes requires what he calls faith.
Right, but he defines faith very differently from just intellectual belief or holding the right opinion.
He calls it an ontological term, meaning it's not just a belief you hold in your mind,
But something that transforms your very being.
like your example about gravity knowing about it versus existing within it.
Precisely. Kierkegaard suggests faith is like that. It reconfigures who you fundamentally are, leading to a personal relationship with God.
And it's described as both a gift of grace from God.
And simultaneously a crucial act of human will, like accepting a marriage proposal, a deeply personal commitment.
And crucially for Kierkegaard, one believes in order to understand.
Reversing the Socratic order of understanding first, then believing.
This raises an important question for you, the listener. How does faith transform from just mental assent to such a profound existential state, a fundamental reorientation of one's being?
What's fascinating here is precisely this fundamental redefinition of terms. It shifts the entire philosophical landscape.
How so?
For Socrates, error is mainly intellectual ignorance, a cognitive lack you can fix with reason.
Okay.
But for Kierkegaard, sin is a much deeper ontological source of this intellectual error. Sin isn't just an act.
It's a state of being destitute of the truth, a polemic attitude toward it, for which one is at fault.
It's a condition of alienation, a spiritual illness, not just lacking information.
Faith, then, is the opposite ontological state.
Right. It's not just believing about God, but a personal relationship, a spiritual marriage with God.
And this divine relationship, this condition, is what truly enables genuine understanding and transformation.
This directly challenges the Socratic idea that reason alone is enough for truth.
It suggests that a prior radical spiritual transformation is absolutely necessary.
Like a child needing trust to truly understand a parent, even if they grasp the words intellectually, the relationship unlocks deeper understanding.
Okay, here's where we touch on a theme that truly, for me, makes the spirit tremble. It's one of the most astonishing aspects of Kierkegaard's thought, as Kreeft presents it.
Which is?
Kierkegaard posits that God's motivation for this profound descent into time, for becoming the divine teacher, is nothing less than pure gift love.
Agape?
Exactly, agape, distinct from human need love, eros, or even friendly love, philia.
This agape is a self-giving love that seeks authentic equality with the beloved.
Even to the astonishing, almost paradoxical point of God humbling himself to become man and experiencing profound suffering.
He suffers, according to Kierkegaard, precisely because his infinite love desires union with humanity.
Yet the beloved humanity is in a state of error and can't, by its own power, understand or bridge that vast chasm of sin.
This is a truly profound and, for many, an astonishing concept for a perfect, omnipotent God.
So what does this divine suffering mean for the very nature of ultimate reality and the Godhead itself? How can a perfect being suffer?
Well, this raises that important question for you, the listener, that cuts against many traditional philosophical ideas of God. How can a perfect, unchanging, omnipotent God suffer?
It seems contradictory, doesn't it?
It does. Kierkegaard describes this as a kingly grief, an unfathomable grief that strikes at the very heart of love and wounds for an eternity.
But he argues, somewhat paradoxically to human reason, that it's a prerogative of the superior.
Meaning that a God who could not suffer for love would actually be less perfect than one who can. He flips our human understanding of perfection on its head.
This is where Kreeft's storytelling really excels, using that powerful analogy.
The king who loves a humble maiden.
Yes. In his boundless love, the king realizes he can't just elevate her, That would overwhelm her, nor can he demand she meet him.
Instead, he must descend to her level, even becoming a servant, to achieve true, authentic union, a real meeting of hearts.
This vividly highlights that it is love, pure agape, not any intrinsic need or selfish desire that drives God's actions.
It's a stark and compelling contrast to how many pagan myths portray their gods, who are often driven by self-interest, petty desires, or, arbitrary whims.
Never the profound self-sacrificing love Kierkegaard describes.
It's a love that transforms the very concept of divine power into something utterly vulnerable and relational.
So Kreeft doesn't just tell us about these profound ideas, he shows us.
Right. He masterfully presents Christianity as both a thought experiment, labeled Hypothesis B,
and also, quite audaciously, as a fairy tale or a myth.
which, again, sounds risky.
But it isn't done to diminish or trivialize it. It's a brilliant strategy to engage the reader in a truly unique way, inviting intellectual play.
It's that seductive logic again, designed to get us rational listeners to consider something that might initially seem nonsensical or absurd.
Something that might instinctively be rejected by a pure Socratic intellect.
What, in your view, is the true genius behind framing something so profound in these seemingly unassuming terms? How does this method work?
Well, if we connect it to the bigger picture, it's a brilliant application of Kierkegaard's signature method of indirect communication.
Which Kreeft embraces wholeheartedly.
By presenting Christianity as a philosophical hypothesis or an imaginative myth, he skillfully invites you, the listener, to engage with its concepts without immediate pressure.
No immediate need for intellectual or existential commitment.
You're invited to critically examine it to see how badly it fits if it's reduced to mere philosophy or a conventional story.
And by doing so, paradoxically, you are indirectly taught its true, radical, transformative nature.
It acknowledges that we understand truth, using both the eyes of the head for logic
and the eyes of the heart for intuitive grasp, for aesthetic appreciation.
This approach suggests that beauty can often serve as a powerful clue to its truth,
allowing a deeper appreciation or an intuitive aha moment to precede or even guide logical understanding.
It's an invitation to consider the truth that might be hidden within the paradox, rather than just dismissing it because it doesn't fit rational categories.
Socrates, true to his nature, demands concrete reasons for believing this strange story of Kierkegaard's.
He wants proof, something logical he can grapple with.
Kierkegaard readily offers them, but immediately warns they are not the straightforward logical reasons Socrates might expect.
Not the kind that builds step by step.
No. Instead, he employs an argument based on causality and the mysterious origin of the new birth idea itself.
He poses a rhetorical question, almost a riddle. If the radical idea of new birth exists in human minds,
this notion of being fundamentally remade, a transformation so profound, it feels like a spiritual rebirth.
And no human being could possibly have invented it, since you can't logically invent a state you haven't experienced or been given the condition to understand.
Then where did this concept originate?
Kierkegaard implies it must be a miracle, pointing directly towards a divine origin.
This isn't a direct logical deduction in the Socratic sense. It's what he calls a subduction, an appeal that bypasses pure intellect.
What stands out to you about this highly unusual form of argument? It seems to rely on its own perceived impossibility.
Well, this raises that important, unsettling question for the strictly rational mind. Can something be profoundly true, even if it initially seems absurd or contradictory to our reason?
Kierkegaard argues that the very paradoxicality of the Christian story, the eternal God getting a beginning, the perfect God suffering from love, the idea of spiritual rebirth,
is not a weakness, but a powerful clue to its truth.
How so?
If a story about God were entirely predictable, easily digestible, perfectly aligned with human reason, well, it might ironically suggest we just invented it. A projection of our limited understanding.
Whereas the astonishing, unexpected, unreasonable nature of God's love and actions,
like that infinite ocean of beauty Socrates spoke of, is precisely what makes it seem divine, not humanly contrived.
It's the inexplicable glory of it that hints at its supernatural origin.
Exactly. This isn't a logical proof that removes free choice, but rather a powerful fingerprint that can convict the conscience of the hearer.
A subtle yet profound appeal to both reason and intuition.
It's an argument from the sheer improbability of the idea, suggesting only a divine mind could conceive of such radical love and transformation.
Kierkegaard's entire philosophy, as we've learned, is fundamentally structured around three distinct stages on life's way.
Right. First, the aesthetic. pursuit of immediate pleasure, fleeting experiences.
Second, the ethical, the rational, moral pursuit of happiness and virtue. Socrates represents this stage well.
Where one strives to live justly and wisely.
And finally, the religious, where true joy is found not just in pleasure or virtue, but in a profound relationship with God through faith.
And Kierkegaard argues that one cannot comfortably remain in that ethical, rational stage, the Socratic middle ground, after truly confronting the radical alternative of Christianity.
It forces a decisive choice regarding their own existence.
It's presented as life's supreme choice, an existential crossroads, no comfortable retreat.
What does this mean, not just for someone like Socrates embodying the ethical stage, but for us, the listeners, contemplating these paths in our own lives?
Well, connecting to the bigger picture, this is the ultimate either-or, going beyond the choice between aesthetic and ethical.
It's a profound challenge, suggesting that Socrates, and maybe all of us seeking truth mainly through reason and ethics, are now afflicted.
Once you've heard Kierkegaard's case glimpsed this alternative, you realize you can't just return to your comfortable middle sphere of instant, reasonable philosophy.
Socrates acknowledges this, realizing he must move ahead and upwards or down and backwards.
There's no standing still in this confrontation. This presents a profound challenge to any complacency we might hold.
Whether we lean towards pleasure, rational morality, or even a nominal, unexamined faith.
It strongly suggests that true existence demands a radical, personal transformation, that new birth of the spirit.
Not just a mental shift in beliefs or adjusting behavior slightly.
It's about being touched by divine love, which offers a joy that radically transcends even happiness and pleasure.
Because it's rooted in something beyond worldly circumstances, something eternal.
A joy that comes from being reunited with the very source of truth and love.
Socrates, faced with the full weight of Kierkegaard's arguments, is left in a state that resonates deeply with the human condition.
What state is that?
Confusion, uncertainty, even a kind of fear and trembling. He admits, quite honestly, that rejecting this radical story, the God who descends in love, calling for a new birth, would lead to great sadness.
And, even more significantly, an inability to ever return to his innocent and reasonable philosophy with the same conviction.
Accepting it, however, means nothing less than uprooting his entire rational foundation, his life's method, and anchoring it in something entirely new faith, that ontological relationship.
He's caught between his mind and perhaps the stirrings of his heart.
Confronting the possibility that war can be a precondition for peace. So what does this all mean for you, the listener, grappling with these same choices?
Well, this raises that important question Kreeft directly poses to you. Are you, the listener, now in a similar position to Socrates?
Kreeft's ultimate goal isn't just to entertain or inform, is it?
No. It is to make you the one being asked this ultimate existential question. This deep dive into Socrates Meets Kierkegaard isn't merely academic.
It's a profound invitation to confront the inherent limits of human reason.
And to seriously consider the possibility of a different kind of truth, one that perhaps transcends what our minds alone can fully grasp.
It's an intellectual journey that, by its very nature, inevitably leads to a personal existential crossroads.
Urging you to consider whether there's more to truth and reality than meets the rational eye, and if that more demands a profound personal decision from you.
And the sheer beauty and the compelling nature of the narrative itself.
In its ability to stir both intellect and emotion is, in Kierkegaard's view, itself an argument for its truth. A form of divine seduction to a deeper reality.
And perhaps the deepest wisdom lies not in having all the answers neatly tied up, perfectly reasoned, logically airtight,
but rather in relentlessly asking the right questions, and crucially being courageously open to the possibility that what initially seems impossible or absurd
might paradoxically be the most profound truth of all. What does your heart tell you, even if your mind is still wrestling furiously with the implications?
We hope this deep dive into Socrates Meets Kierkegaard has given you plenty to ponder and perhaps even sparked a new curiosity within you about these timeless questions.
Yeah, definitely food for thought.
If you're curious to explore Socrates' other fascinating encounters with intellectual giants, Peter Kreeft has written many more.
Like Socrates Meets Jesus and Socrates Meets Freud.
Exactly. We highly encourage you to seek out the original source material and continue your own deep dive into these profound ideas.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and above all, keep learning. Be sure to visit us at 1337podcast.com.
We've got tons of resources and discussions there.
Thank you for joining us on this enlightening adventure.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, and see you next time.
Strength and honor. I am Spartacus.
Thanks for watching. Tap into 1337podcast.com.